Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are gonna learn all about baking your face in makeup. We're gonna see how to bake your face the right way using the right kind of products and the right technique in today's video. So baking is a technique in which you use a lot of loose powder to set your makeup in place, which gives you a beautiful, flawless, almost airbrush looking skin, and your face remains super oil free and matte throughout the day, and your makeup is gonna last so long. Plus, baking also helps in preventing all those creases on your face, so it is the perfect technique to achieve a beautiful, flawless finish to your makeup. So to bake your face, you'll have to choose a loose setting powder which has a little bit of a tint to it, and also make sure that the powder is slightly lighter than your own complexion, not too light, but make sure it is at least 1 or 2 shades lighter than your skin tone. That's what brings a lot of brightness to your face and your face looks super flawless. Now before I start to bake my face, I'm just going to use a little bit of concealer. So I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the shade Honey to just highlight on the regular areas that I like to highlight, which is the under eyes, the center of my forehead, the bridge of the nose, the cupid's bow and the chin. So I'm going to take the concealer and apply a little bit right here. Again, the concealer is 2 to 3 shades lighter than my own complexion, because that's what is going to highlight your face and bring some brightness to your face. So these are the areas where you typically brighten and highlight. So I'm applying a little bit on the inner corner as well as on the outer corner. So I've applied my concealer, and then I'm going to pick up my damp beauty blender and just blend the concealer out. So I've blended my concealer away, and the next step is baking. Now to bake my face, I'm going to take my absolute favorite loose setting powder, which is the K-Beauty loose setting powder, and the shade that I have is called Olive. This loose powder is about 2 shades lighter than my own complexion, and the undertone is sort of neutral, so it's not too cool, not too warm, so it is perfect on my complexion as a baking powder. And I love everything about this powder. It is perfect for baking and setting your face because it's got a beautiful soft matte finish to it, and it's not powdery at all. It is a smooth, finely milled, very soft looking powder, so it is perfect for all skin types. Even if you have a drier skin type, I think you'll really like this powder because it doesn't get cakey at all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna tilt my product upside down and just tap it a couple of times. This is just gonna make sure that the product comes out of the sift that is there inside. Now, before I apply any powder to my face, I'm gonna take a damp beauty blender. Make sure your beauty blender is damp. This is very important when you bake your face. It should be damp, not wet, alright? So I'm just gonna take my damp beauty blender, and I'm just gonna make sure that there are no creases whatsoever on my face before applying the loose powder. So I'm just gonna give a quick dab on the under eyes where my concealer creases a lot before applying the powder. You can also look up like this. That's just gonna smoothen out your wrinkles and just gonna make your blending easier. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dunk my beauty blender into the loose powder, and I'm gonna take a generous amount of the powder and press the powder gently on the under eyes. So this is a very soft baking that I did. Can you see the difference? You can see the line right here, and the line is completely diminished and blurred out here. So that's what I'm talking about baking. I love this technique. Now, if you have a drier skin type, you could stop at this moment. But I have a super oily skin type, so I like to layer up the powder a little bit more. So I'm just taking some powder and pressing gently on the under eye. And also, while I'm doing this step, I also like to take the powder right at the corner of my nose here, and what this does is it's gonna make your nose look more sharper and slender looking. So you can do this if you want your nose to look more sharper. Now I'm using a beauty blender to bake my face. You can also use a wedge sponge like this. This is also dampened, and the shape of the wedge sponge is just gonna fit under your eyes perfectly. So I'm just gonna show you how to use the wedge sponge on this side. So again, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm just gonna remove any creases on the under eyes and dip it into the powder. And immediately I'm just gonna bake. And you have to set and bake your under eyes immediately, otherwise the crease will form immediately. So make sure you do it right after taking away the creases. Now the other places that I like to bake are my smile lines. I do have severe smile line issues, so I always make sure to bake on my smile lines because that helps in avoiding those creases there. Again, I'm going to do the exact same thing by taking away any creases. A little bit of the loose powder, not too much this time because I don't want a lot of brightness here. My only concern is to avoid creases. So I'm going to take the tiniest amount of powder possible, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. This is just going to stretch the skin around here, and all of the smile lines are going to be exposed, and when you place the powder on top of the smile lines, the creases are going to be filled with powder, so your creases will be prevented very well throughout the day. So I'm just going to take the tiniest amount of powder and stop talking and do the baking. And when I apply the powder here, I do this. I just roll the beauty blender like so. And this is just going to make sure that all of the smile line is filled with powder and mattified for the rest of the day. You can also go ahead and bake right under the hollows of your cheek and above your jawline. This is just going to make sure that your contour looks more sharper and defined, and your face will look super sculpted in the end. So I'm just going to take some powder again on the damp beauty blender and pop it right here. You could avoid this step if you have a broader face structure, because this will make your face look more broader and more wider looking. So you can avoid this step if you already have a wider face structure. So now all you have to do is let the powder set and sink into the skin for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we are just going to brush off all of the excess powder away, and that's going to give you that beautiful airbrushed creaseless skin. So I'm just going to wait for a couple of minutes and get back. So it's been about 10 minutes now, and I'm going to take a fluffy powder brush to brush away all of the excess loose powder and just flick it like this, and that's just gonna take away all of the powder. Can you see how instantly blurred out this side of my face looks? It looks super flawless and super airbrushed. So that's how my face looks after baking. It looks super blurred out and smoothened out. Baking almost gives a filter to your face, man. I love the result of baking. Especially if you're an oily skinned girl, you will love baking your face. So I'm just gonna add the rest of the makeup on my face and come back to you. So I'm back with a full face of makeup. Now you can obviously see a lot of powderiness going on your face because of the baking that you did with a lot of loose powder. So now to take it down and to tone it down, you have to use a setting spray. And that's just gonna help all of the powderiness to go away and make your makeup melt and mesh with your skin better, and that's gonna create a nice flawless finish. So to set the base makeup in place, I'm gonna use the most favorite setting spray of mine from the affordable category, which is the L'Oreal Infallible Setting Spray. So the setting spray has completely dried down and all of the powderiness is totally gone, and the makeup has meshed into the skin so well and it looks so non-cakey and beautiful. So this is how I bake my face to achieve a beautiful flawless finish. Baking is such a great technique to create that airbrushed and smoothened out, blurred out skin. Plus it makes your makeup last super long because the areas where you generally crease is completely locked and settled down with powder. So it's gonna make sure that your makeup lasts for a really long time. Especially if you're an oily skinned girl, you would absolutely love the baking technique because it does help your makeup stay for super long hours. And even if you have a drier skin type, you can do a little bit of baking, that never hurts. You just have to use a nice dewy setting spray in the end just to make sure that the powderiness is completely gone. Since I have an oily skin type, I used a matte setting spray, but like I said, if you have a drier skin type and you don't want that matte and cakey powdery finish, definitely go in with a dewy setting spray and that will really help you out. So guys, this is how I do the baking technique on myself. I really hope that you guys found this video useful and helpful. If you did, make sure to give this video a huge thumbs up, comment, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel for more such beauty content. And that's about it for today's video, and I shall see you guys soon in my next one. Bye!